The sun has risen over the northern forest once again, and animals are beginning to emerge from the shadows of the night. A solitary Diabloceratops is combing the forest floor for succulent new growth to feed upon. Despite its intimidating name, Diabloceratops is no more deadly than any other ceratopsid. It is merely the uniquely shaped horns on her skull that makes her the least bit demonic. But a predator is watching. Cryolophosaurus is an uncommon species on the island, but they have proven to be more dangerous than their size would suggest them to be in the past. This male is young and lacks experience. It's a miracle he hasn't yet been spotted. The hunt has failed, and an injury was sustained. But a bigger problem is on its way. Sometimes, in response to extreme terror, the fight-or-flight response fails, and paralysis becomes an animal's doom. This is Junior, the last son of Bloodtooth and Grant. Junior hatched in between seasons 3 and 4. It turns out, just before Grant's unfortunate death at the end of season 3, he got Bloodtooth gravid one last time. And the result was Junior. A few months later, when Owen came on the scene, Junior, just like Nigel, was kicked out of the pack, and he has been living on his own ever since. Just like his father, he is extraordinarily large. He's not even fully grown, and already about to surpass 45 feet. Junior hunts in the northern forest fairly often, but he lives here. This is the northern scrubland. It's even further north than the forested regions, and is both drier and colder. It is far from ideal, but is relatively free of other large predators that Junior would have to compete with elsewhere. He calls into the trees and waits. Finally, his mate reveals herself. This is Sharon. She is the same age as Junior, but far smaller, as she is actually a normal-sized Tyrannosaurus Rex. These two found each other, alone and starving, both when they were extremely young, and they have been surviving together, supporting one another, ever since. Junior moves further into the trees to tend to his offspring. Below him rests a large, healthy clutch of eggs, each one a potential top predator just waiting to hatch. The two mates reunite. In this region, they are the largest, deadliest carnivores around. On the other side of the island, in a small southern woodland, a large herbivore has found itself turned around. A tortoise trudges along the forest floor, a tiny little fortress on legs. But this isn't the herbivore we spoke of. A female Styracosaurus arrives. She is young, still a subadult in fact, and already she is the size of an adult black rhino. The two plant eaters part ways as the Styracosaur begins moving further into the trees. The plant growth here is young and not yet tall enough to shield her from the sun. She is beginning to tire. Sating her hunger is certainly a good idea, but another danger isn't far away. A feral cat. At one time, there was an entire breeding population of feral cats on the island, along with many other invasive species brought here by early human settlers. Thankfully for the island's native life, the settlers failed their conquest, and most of the animals they brought with them didn't last long either. But an oversized house cat still presents a potential unnatural threat. This other Styracosaurus is Strack, the young male from Season 2 of this series. He is an adult now, and his younger sister Spike is now this nearly full-grown female. Spike approaches the carcass As one would expect, all species of ceratopsids are primarily herbivores, but some, including Styracosaurus, will feed on carrion when the opportunity presents itself. The two large centrosaurians move out onto the eastern plains. Any evidence of the Utah raptor's hunt from 3 days ago is gone. Even the body of the massive Camarasaurus is nowhere to be seen. Maggie, the mother of Strack and Spike, emerges from behind the trunk of this massive, ancient tree. She reunites with her daughter, who is starting to form a habit of running off. Another Styracosaurus arrives, Uno, the patriarch of the herd. He is larger than a fully grown Triceratops. As he's matured over the years, an odd condition has become clearly visible. He doesn't stop growing. Technically, most dinosaurs grow their entire lives, but most grow much more slowly once they reach a certain adult age. But Uno is still growing at the rate of a much younger Styracosaurus. And it's not an advantage. His species was never meant to carry this kind of weight. And early arthritis and mobility problems are already starting to present themselves. Still, he manages to be one of the most powerful and courageous individuals among our many research subjects on Dinosaur Island. Back in the northern forest, in a canyon made of ferns, a Parasaurolophus is coming to feed on the lush vegetation. This animal's mere presence here in the north shows that Cretaceous animals are beginning to become more common in this region. The stegosaurs that seem to be so dominant here are gaining more competition every day. But even though the Jurassic herbivores of the area might be slipping away, one species of Jurassic carnivore poses an immediate and deadly threat. She moves her nearly 40-foot-long body closer to her victim. It looks like yet another predator has failed today. This is Arya, a female Allosaurus fragilis who was never hunted by herself before. Her mate was the male who died fighting Nigel last season. Without him, alone and out of her element, Arya's chances of survival dwindle every time she misses a kill. Back in the eastern plains, a storm has begun. The south side now sits beneath a layer of dark clouds as the sky opens up onto the animals below. Uno and Maggie share a moment of affection. Even creatures such as these have bonds stronger than most of us tend to expect. In the rain, something is moving. Another relic from the Jurassic. This is a male Ceratosaurus nasicornis. His mate stays close to him as the two make their approach. The male waits for his mate to cut off the herd as they stampede into the distance. But she hadn't yet gotten into position. The Styracosaurs have no idea that the hunt was a failure, and so they have now been running at full speed for well over a minute. They are not lost, but they are disoriented. And with the Ceratosaurs still likely on their trail, the herd has no choice but to keep moving deeper into the dark woodland.